Share screen. Okay, so we are going over ways to improve your final project and understanding how to get an A+. I'm going to go through this as quickly as possible. First, your grade is going to be based on your own self-assessment, and your self-assessment is going to be based on two major things. Is it your ability to have rhetorical awareness and use that rhetorical awareness to your own advantage, and to write within a particular field or discipline in a way that's going to be able to transfer beyond this course to other instances or examples that you need to do in your professional life, wherever that's going to be. Okay, and for rhetorical awareness, to define this, rhetoric is the art of communicating effectively. It's also a way of making change in the world, i.e. getting a job through communication. It's been called the art of persuasion, and in ancient times in Aristotle, this means ethos, logos, and pathos, your ability to persuade with your character, your logic, and your emotions. And in the modern 21st century, following the work of Carl Rogers and other pioneering rhetorical theoreticians, this has turned into an emphasis on rhetorical empathy that is about how audience is everything and that situation is everything. We understand where our audiences are coming from and what situation they're in. We can better communicate and be persuasive, and this emphasizes the importance of listening, reading, and understanding. For your final project, you are going to be revising kind of the focus or thesis of what you're doing, and this is kind of your elevator pitch of why it is you're doing what you're doing. This why should give way to a kind of form, outline, structure that it's going to take to achieve this why for this particular audience. From there, you're going to use certain kinds of language, so certain kinds of ways of speaking, your idiom, so the certain type of English that you use, and it's going to have a surface appearance of paragraphs, images, words, sentences, whatever it looks like when you give it to somebody. You're also going to be, when we talk about language, you're also thinking about your style or flow, which is basically just the words that you use and the sentences that you put those words in. A good style is going to integrate short, powerful, punchy sentences with long, kind of flowing sentences, although I hate that sentence because it doesn't really mean anything. Okay, so with this background, what I am going to ask you in your self-assessment is, please give me specifics on how your project meets the needs of your chosen rhetorical situation. Be specific as you can, because you know I'm a stickler for specificity. I think getting more specific is one of the finest ways to sharpen our cognitive capacities. Be as specific as you can. Define your terms. For example, from my background in philosophy, it's also part of my contextual situation. Who are you writing to? I.e., who is your project geared towards? What are your goals? And tell me, in terms of your structure of your project, from your thesis, from the center of your apple to the outside, how does your project meet your audience? Help, ooh, look at that, I like that. How does your project meet your audience expectations? Help your audience? Provide value to your audience? Now, it's interesting, a lot of your projects have more than one audience, i.e. you're kind of thinking about a long-term professional audience, like somebody that might actually you want to network with on a professional scale, but also maybe you are an audience and you actually, your future self as a way of reflecting and learning to increase your goals or to increase your art, or what, you know, if you're working on music production or something like that. How is what you're doing providing value to your audience? And then do you have evidence of revisions that show deepened or sustained thinking on it? So it's deepened or sustained thinking about your work and the value it provides to your audiences. And that's pretty much it. I gave you the guideline that we're basically working on these projects for a week and a half. That's about, in terms of a 3-credit class, correct me if my math's wrong here, but a 3-credit class, you're generally expected, you're gonna do twice as much work per or twice as much time out of class as you would in class. So for a 3-credit class, that's 9 hours per week, more or less, times a week and a half, equals 4.5, about 13.5 hours. And that's after the brainstorming and everything you've done up to this point. So it's kind of a benchmark of what I'm hoping that you would spend doing these things. And I would give yourself, honestly, about an hour to do this self-assessment, especially considering I'm going to be using the self-assessment as my basis for my assessment of your work. What does this mean? And this is the last thing I'm going to say, and this was my suggestion. It's not too late to give yourself and start drafting this self-assessment part. If I'm going to be asking you to provide specifics on how your project meets the needs of your chosen rhetorical situation, and you are drafting your final project today or on Monday or this weekend, and all of a sudden you do something like you find an image or you find something else that's really helpful, or you make some kind of revision, I would make a note of that to build on to your self-assessment. That's pretty much what I have, and I'm noticing there's some audio glitches. I'm wondering if am I coming through, or are things messed up?
It was clear for me.
Yeah. All right, that was a lot. Woo! Does this make sense of what I'm trying to get you to kind of big picture what I hope that the project is going to help you do?
Yeah, I just had a question on this self-assessment. What if we're like not like 100% sure what our audience is, or if it may be like a vague audience? I don't know, like how do we assess or like acknowledge that in the assessment?
Super good question. What if I don't know exactly who my audience is?
Yeah, like, or it could just be like,
or it's just
really,
vague.
like, yeah,
like someone in the someone. Okay, yeah, good. We'll go with that. I would first ask. So this is a great question. Let's go through this. Are you doing a more professional audience, or are you doing a more like? Are you doing this mainly for your academic program, or are you doing this for personal or interpersonal, like social reasons? Can you narrow it down, or is it a combination of all three?
It'd probably be maybe less towards like the academic side, but
okay,
like
good.
Personal, but hopefully like also maybe professional. I don't know.
Okay, no, this is great. I think this actually applies to a lot of projects I've seen. Personal, but also maybe professional. Let's say someone. So you're writing to a personal or maybe professional someone. What do we know about this personal or professional maybe someone? And this is what I'm going to ask. So I want you to actually think about them. That's kind of what I want your self-assessment to do. And this goes back to the big lessons of the course, which is why I'm going to be able to use your self-assessment to really actually understand whether or not you got it. So what does everybody care about? Generally speaking. If I'm a human being and I can read English, well, okay, well, we know that. We know they can read English, and we know they can look at pictures. Starting big. What else do we know about them?
Care about enrichment and entertainment.
Okay, yeah.
Boom. That's true of me. And I know for me, though, Shay, I detest bullshit entertainment, or consumeristic entertainment. If it's entertainment just to get my attention, I hate it. If it's entertainment that's trying to do something really cool, I love it. Even if I don't actually love it, like some weird avant-garde art film, then I'm like, man, who made this? This is a horror, but it's artistic. I still like that, even though, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I could even qualify, that's why I like this word enrichment. They care about enrichment and entertainment. Okay, what else? That's good.
I mean, they care about character development, so you can show yourself growing through some method.
Yep, I love that. This really connects actually to one of the things we looked at in the beginning of the semester, which is that scope, the shape your story might take, the Kurt Vonnegut. But generally, we do care about characters. We care about characters who are striving for things. We care about characters who are trying to develop. So this is actually really huge in the fact that you could say as yourself, hey, everybody, I really want to build a career as a blank, blank, blank. And it's freaking hard to do that. But man, oh man, I am like battling it out. And luckily I have my trusty sidekick, my Disney cat here or whatever. I've noticed all these Disney movies have a side. You know what I'm saying? Like we like that kind of storytelling. And if you're like looking for a mentor or someone to have those conversations, that's an interesting pitch. Hey, I need help. I'm looking for my Gandalf. And you know, you seem kind of like Gandalf. So can I talk to you for 15 minutes next week? Just to see if you would like talking and whatever. So I digress. What else do we know about this personal, but also maybe professional someone? Because we're basically missing two giant ones that I can tell you that we definitely, all of us are going to care about. And these are great answers, honestly.
Like that is like they felt some like worth out of like viewing, like they felt like they benefited from like whatever it is, I guess.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. No, actually, they care about self-worth and productivity potentially. I don't like this word, but I do like this word in the sense of they care about getting something. Whoops. Like I don't want to waste my.
Oh, like they don't want to like their time was like wasted.
Yes. And interestingly, time is connected to money in the sense of productivity, although I really kind of want to blow a hole in that cultural fascination as well, but for another day. So we care about time, and we also, you know what? I just want this to be easier. Yeah.
Oh.
So anything else? Am I missing? I mean, obviously there's going to be different things. So if I'm writing a fashion blog, there's going to be new things on this list. I don't know who I'm writing to, but I'm writing to someone that's interested in fashion. I'm going to be able to add some things to this list. I'm not going to write a philosophy blog about appearance. Maybe I should though, actually. Maybe that would be interesting. Okay, and this, remember we also, earlier on in the semester, we looked at Seth Godin's understanding of a connection economy. Whoops, I already have that. Seth Godin's, should probably capitalize his name out of respect to the guy. Jeez. In the sense that we really care about having connections with other people. And that those connections are predicated on trust. They're predicated on vulnerability. And they're predicated on, to a certain extent, authenticity. Saw a great side note. Highly recommend Tyler, the Creator's interview on Larry King Live. So good. Tyler, the Creator, just is so authentic all the time. And that's one of the things I think that the people that like Tyler, the Creator, love about him. And he's creatively brilliant. But okay. that actually gives us a lot to work with to be able to see whether or not my project has done certain things to save my audience time and make it easier on them. And in general, what's very interesting, so all of this, this is about a personal or professional someone, i.e. the audience values these particular things. The craft of writing should meet them. And I'm going to use writing broadly speaking here, because this could also be photographing or video making. There's ways to meet the audience where it is. And this is, remember, so this is the golden or the ironclad rule of writing was always treat your audience's time. Does everybody remember the other half of this?
I don't.
More valuable than your
Is
own.
more valuable than your own. So you're basically, anything you can do, another way to say this is, and I should quote this is from Josh Benoff in his wonderfully titled book, Writing Without Bullshit. So you're doing, how do we as a writer or an organizer treat our audience's time as more valuable than our own? One clear way: outline and tell them what they're about to see. i.e., I don't even know if I want to spend the next 3 minutes of my life with you. Can you help me make that decision in the next 20 seconds? Please? Don't make me wait to figure out what you're offering. Like, tell me what you're offering. And then I'll make the decision whether or not I want to go there with you. And when you tell me, hey, in this presentation, I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and by the end of it, I hope you'll get this. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm doing this for you. Oh, you are? Oh, well, then I'll settle in and listen to your presentation, or I'll listen to your podcast. If I don't get that sense, so that's one clear way. 2, this connects to outlining, but organization. We have in English topic sentences and paragraphs as main markers of ways that we show our audience, oh boy, paragraphs. We have topic sentences and paragraphs as a way of telling our audience what they're about to see, and that basically delineating this thing is about this. These should help your audiences skim. So they might not want to read the whole thing. Probably they don't. So what part are they going to want to read? How could you lead them to that with more efficiency? And then, you know, this also has to do with style. Saying more with less, i.e. your writing economy. How well can you say what you're going to say? I just got a text from one of my old students who's kind of become one of my friends who said, I just reduced this 4-page essay down to 3 pages and it didn't lose any meaning. I'm so stoked. And I'm like, I'm glad that you're excited about that, because that's kind of like the goal, right? So, and again, that joke is, hey, I would have made this shorter if I would have had more time, which isn't really a joke. I find myself saying that to people a lot. And again, this isn't just about writing. The same could go with a podcast. You tell your people what you're going to do. You do your best to edit it down. That could go with your incorporation of media. If I can incorporate a picture that gives you worth 1,000 words, maybe I should do that and then proceed accordingly and then use my words for something else. But that's the big picture that I'm hoping. And this is also, I hope we see, discipline and situation specific. So if you have a certain situation, ideal, you know, that's gonna change the way you outline, the way you organize, what style you use, and what media you integrate. That's kind of what I'm hoping that you, thinking big picture about this course, what you really can take from it is this habit of saying, who is my audience? What do they need? How can I serve them? That's what a good cover letter is. It's not, I want a job. It's, who's my audience? What do they need? How can I serve them? How can I show them that I'm serving them by the way I'm composing my work? And honestly, people can tell. It is so refreshing to get a nicely paragraphed email from a student, especially when I get just emails that are of a giant block of text. Yeah, I don't want to read that. Just tell me what you need. I don't care about your story either, by the way. Just be like, for personal reasons, comma. Now, that might sound harsh, and that would depend on the situation, right? Like some students I have different relationship with. Obviously, if you feel like you need help, feel free to reach out. But does that make sense? Basically, big picture, I'm going to ask whether or not you were able to think about specifics about how your project, you might not, you probably should, let's get rid of how your project is going to help your people that you're writing to, and what you did in terms of your craft that helped them. That's the big picture of the course. That's the big picture of the project. It's just another way of doing that. Hopefully you did that in the PowerPoint or thought about that. Like I want this to be easy on Sean and my peers, so I'm going to do this. That's the same thing as a cover letter. Same thing as any academic essay. In college, say your thesis as soon as you can. Don't make the TA wonder whether or not you are answering the question. Answer the question as specifically and carefully as you can. Tell the TA what you're going to do in your essay, and then do it so that they can read the thesis, read your outline, read your topic sentences, and give you an A+ if they don't want to actually read your work. You know, and honestly, they might not want to. That's all I have for you, and we're out of time. Any other questions? Oh my God, that was a great question, Shay. So good that it took me 20 minutes to answer.
Yeah, that's mine. That's all.
Yeah? Okay. Well, I would encourage you to do the self-assessment at your midway point, and probably before your midway point. I would think about if there are some, the other answer to your question, my initial answer was, how can you make your audience more specific? Can you find someone that you might like to send your website to, and then actually think about them as an audience? That would be awesome. And you're like, you know, I was actually kind of thinking of you, Cynthia, somebody at this company. Your work is amazing. And I kind of made this website inspired by your work. And I hoped that maybe, you know, we could have a virtual cup of coffee. I don't know. But that would be way excellent. Way more excellent than, I don't know.
Cool. Yeah, that helps a bunch.
All right, cool. The tea is cold. Class is over.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. See you guys. I'm going to see. Did it record? It recorded.
Yay.
Jazz hands. Thank you, Shay, Jeff, Cassie, and anybody else that's getting some value from this. I hope this helps.
Well, you all have a good weekend.
Question, Jeff?
I was just wondering, are we, just because it's, you know, the final project, are we going to have another lecture next week?
Yeah, I think so. We might as well. Because some people, since I extended it, it's going to be somewhat similar. I'm hoping that we get feedback. Ideally, you get some insights from your specific discipline that when you share them, it makes other light bulbs go off. That's the coolest part about this course that I'd like to kind of approximate as much as we can. So yes, we'll see you on Friday next week if you're into tuning in again.
Cool.
Thank you guys. Good luck on your projects. If you feel like if you want to meet, let me know.
Cool. Thank you.
All right.
See you guys.
See ya.
And Cassie, see ya.